This week on Tuesday, our fourth graders presented their Kansas characters to the whole school. Every fourth grader has chosen a famous character from the state of Kansas. Here's a video to show the presentations.
Hi, I'm Grace Sandel. I was born January 15, 2004 in Lenexa, Kansas. I won America's Got Talent September 2016. I also got a Golden Buzzer by Howie Mandel. My family is so proud of me that I won. You guys are probably wondering who my family is. My parents' names are Tina and Dave. My siblings are Jacob and Olivia. I live in Suffolk, New York with my family. I'm going to start telling you about my career. So I started off singing at 3 years old and singing in the shower. I kept doing that. Soon enough, I was 11. When I turned 11, I got some money from my grandma, so I bought a ukulele. Soon enough, I was teaching myself and watching YouTube videos. In the blink of an eye, I was on AGT, also known as America's Got Talent. When I went to audition, I was so nervous. It was the scariest thing I've ever done. When I went to audition, I sang I Don't Know My Name. Soon enough, as in the live shows. In the live shows, I sang Beautiful Thing because I wrote it about my sister. Soon enough, I was in the semifinals. In the semifinals, I sang Light the Sky. In the quarterfinals, I sang Clay. In the finals, I sang Clay again. Soon enough, I was in the top two. In the top two, there were me and the Clairvoyants. It seemed the longest part of my life. Now is the answer. Who in America's Got Talent? It is Grace Vanderwall. I started bawling tears of joy. It was the best day of my life and changed my life forever. It changed my life forever. 6 months later, my treehouse was finished by Treehouse Masters. It was the coolest day ever. It was the largest in New York and the second largest in the country. After I won, I kept making music. I also been on Ellen DeGeneres, Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden, Today's Show, and Live with Kelly and Ryan. And now that I'm 15, I've made 30 songs and 2 albums. And now that I'm going on through my life with lots of joy, I'm glad that I did not go into American Idol. I'm proud of myself. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Ray Edelen Sr. I was born July 30th, 97 in Sterling, Kansas. The first Dillon's, my dad, J.S. Dillon, opened in 1913. We created cash and carry. It's when you pay right there instead of later. In 1978, I left to serve in World War I. The Dillon's companies were founded in 1921, Hutchinson, Kansas. I hired a bookkeeper, Stella. She became my wife. We had 2 sons, Ray Jr. and Richard. After the Great Depression, we opened more stores. We were the first to introduce off-street customer parking and public restrooms. In 1957, we bought some Kroger and King superstores. We also owned Quick Shops and Quick Stops, plus other stores. I was named Native Sons and Daughters Kansan of the Year in 1971. I retired in 1979. In 1991, I was inducted into the Kansas Business Hall of Fame. I died on February 15th, 1996. I was 98.
My name is Osa Johnson. I was born March 14, 1894 in Chestnut, Kansas, USA. Maury and Elmer Johnson is my husband. We are American adventurers and document filmmakers. In the first half of the 20th century, Maury and I captured the public image through films and books of adventures in exotic fairway lands. I was alive for 59 years. Martin was born October 9, 1884. Martin died January 13, 1954. I died January 7, 1953 in New York. I died of a heart attack. Martin and I were married May 1910 to January 13, 1937. Some people believe the movie Up is like me and Martin's life. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Charles Jesse Jones. I was born in Illinois and came to Kansas when I was 21.
I was the second son out of 12 children. I married Martha Walton in 1869. I planted fruit trees at our original home. I had 6 children, 4 of them died in childhood. I co-founded Garden City with the Fulton brothers in 1879. I constructed the Buffalo Block in downtown Garden City in Jones Avenue. I was a Kansas State legislator and the first game warden of Yellowstone National Park. I got my nickname Buffalo Jones from working with buffalo herds. I crossbred buffalo and beef cattle, producing a breed called Beefalo or Cattle. I hunted animals all over the world, mainly hunted in Africa. I contracted malaria there and never recovered. I died on October 1st, 1919. I was buried in Garden City, Kansas. I was born on January 31st, 1844.
Hi, my name is Gordon Parks. I was born November 30th, 1912 in Fort Scott, Kansas. I was the youngest of 15 children. Guess what? I was the first African-American filmmaker. But I wasn't only a filmmaker. I was also a musician, book writer, poet, and photographer. I was also the first African-American to produce and direct motion pictures. My dad was a veggie farmer, and my mom died when I was 14. I was married 3 times. My wives' names were Genevieve Young, Elizabeth Campbell, and Sally Alvis. One day I was walking in Seattle, Washington, and a guy said, "You should be my photographer." So I said, "Okay, but I don't have a camera." The next day I walked into a store and bought a camera. Then I taught myself how to take pictures. 2 of the awards I have earned are the National Medal of Arts and the Spingarn Medal. Sadly, I've died of cancer March 7th, 2006 in New York City at the age of 93. I am buried in Fort Scott, Kansas.
Hi, I am George Washington Carver. I was born in Diamond, Missouri, January 1st, 1864. Within a week of my birth, I was kidnapped with my sister and mother. We became the slaves from the raiders from Arkansas. When I was 16 years old, I saw a family going to Kansas. They let me get in. Then I went to school, and then I won a scholarship from the University of Highland. I went to the university and they said no black people allowed. Then I became a teacher at a black college. Then I became a farming scientist to make better sweet potatoes, peanuts, and better soil. I died on January 5th, 1943 at the age of 78 after falling down my stairs at my house. I was buried next to Booker T. Washington on the Tuskegee grounds.
DeWitt David Eisenhower, 34th President, October 14th, 1890, March 28, 1969, raised in Edelen, Kansas, married many down. I have 2 sons, West Point, 1915. I am in World War I and II. I am 62 years old. My nickname is Ike. I have 5-star generation in the United States Army and served as Supreme Commander of the Edelen Expeditionary.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lawrence Robinson.
Hi, I'm Charles Lawrence Robinson.
I was born on July 12th of 1827 in Belchertown, Massachusetts. I died on November 15th of 1911 in Lawrence, Kansas.
I was born on July 21st, 1818 in Hardwick, Massachusetts, and died on August 17th, 1894 in Lawrence, Kansas. We were the first couple of Kansas.
We traveled the Kansas Territory in about 1854.
On October 30th, 1851, I married my beautiful wife, Sarah.
In 1856, my husband left for California on an expedition trip. I was very lonely.
I was Kansas's first state governor and served as a governor from 1861 to 1863. I was also the first governor of a U.S. state to be impeached. I was impeached because of a feud with Senator James Lane and control of the Republican Party, but I was found not guilty.
Our first house burnt. We were both against slavery. I was educated at Hadley and
Amherst Academies and at an Amherst College.
I lived in Kansas from 1854 to 1911. That's 57 years.
I studied medicine in Woodstock, Vermont, and later in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Our first house
Burned down in 1863.
My amazing husband came from Massachusetts looking for something to report for his job. He met me and quit his job, and we ended up living here in Lawrence.
I married two Sarahs. The first one passed away. She also had two children, but they passed away after their birth.
I went to New Salem Academy for school. I studied very hard for a diploma and happily got one in 1857. I was fluent in German, Latin, and French. I wrote a book when we moved to Kansas. Our farm was given to the University of Kansas and is now the main part of the campus.
I died because of chronic bladder and stomach trouble. I was 76 years old.
I passed away of old age at 84 years old.
Hi, I am Ralph Lugo. I was born on October 29th, 1880. My nickname is Grey Wolf. I am the brother of the leader of our gang. I have four brothers. When I rob banks, I don't put the money in different banks. I bury the money. People still try to find the money, but they have failed. My brother and I were famous for bank robbing. I kidnapped a doctor to fix my injured partner. After he fixed my injured partner, I killed him and pushed him off a cliff. I robbed the First National Bank in Lamar Co. I died on July 10th, 1930. I was hung on. I was 49 and I was hung in Colorado State Penitentiary in Kansas City, Colorado.
Heading out to San Francisco, California, I became a card shark. Later, I traveled to Oklahoma, where I was arrested and sentenced to 1 year at the Oklahoma Penitentiary for burglary. When I got out, Ralph was waiting and we returned to Western Kansas, Garden City. We rented a new place not far from our parents where we could plan our crimes more privately. In 1928, along with the 3 new members of our gang, we planned to rob the First National Bank of Weimar, Colorado. The 2 handpicked members were George Abshire from Colorado and Howard Rolston from California.
Hi, my name is Lucy Hobbs. I was a pioneer dentist in Lawrence, Kansas. When I came to Kansas, I was born in 1833 in Lawrence, Kansas. When I came to Kansas, I was the state's only woman dentist. I had hoped to become a doctor, but I could not find a dental school that would allow women to enroll. I then decided to go to dental school. In Ohio, and I started studying with a dentist in Ohio. I learned how to pull teeth and make dentures during the day, and I did sewing during the nighttime. I went to pay my expenses. But when I tried to enter dental school, officials refused to let me attend because I was a woman. I went to Iowa and back to Ohio. I graduated in 1866. I married James M. Taylor in Chicago, Illinois, and I convinced my husband to go to dental school. I did not have any kids in my life. My grave is in Lawrence, Kansas. So if you want to go see it, then go to Lawrence. Then go there. Any questions? And also, who enjoyed today's lesson about Lucy Hobbs?
My name is Elizabeth Washington. I was born November 3rd, 1918 in Newton, Kansas. Even before I became a soldier, I was no stranger to the military way of life. My 3 brothers and dad were in the U.S. Armed Forces, and my grandfather was known as the Kansas National Guard. I graduated from Notre Dame in 1940 and joined the Army in 1942. I had to attend many officer training schools. I became one of the first two women in the U.S. Army to be promoted to the rank of Brigadier General. I served in World War II, Vietnam War, and Korean War. I served 1942 through 1971. I got many awards such as Bronze Star Medal, Women Army Corps Service Medal, World War II Victory Medal, and many more. I died August 21st, 2007 in Springfield, Virginia. I had a very exciting life though. I won many medals and helped in wars. And I have 2 quotes. The first one is, if I had ever learned to type, I never would have made Brigadier General. And the second one is, my first love was the U.S. Army. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
Gaines. I was born April 19, 1978 in Wichita, Kansas. I am 40 years old. My parents are Nan and Jerry Stevens. My siblings are Teresa and Mary. I love my family. One day this guy came into my dad's tire store. We both went to Baylor University. Chip and I married May 31st, 2003 after 1 year of dating. We got started by flipping houses. We have 5 children, Drake, Duke, Ella, Emmy, and the newest, Crew Gaines. I got the idea of a show in a store and a dream. My amazing husband pushed me to my dreams. In 2003, I got my first Magnolia Market. In May 2013, HGTV's Fixer Upper came along. I got my first Magnolia Market no, I already said that, sorry. Come on down to Waco, Texas, see my store, Magnolia, watch my show, and come to my bed and breakfast at the Magnolia House. It's only $695 per night.
I am Gale Sayers. I was born 1943 in Wichita, Kansas. I'm son to Roger Winfield and Bernice Ross. I'm a professional football player. I played 7 seasons from 1965 to 1971. I was drafted to the Bears in 1965. People call me Kansas Comet because I was born in Kansas and I'm really fast. One of my football cars is worth $1,000. I was friends with Brian Piccolo, who died of cancer in 1970. There's a movie about our friendship. I went to KU and I was the youngest to be entered into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I was married to Ardith Bullard and I broke both of my knees in 1971. I got dementia in 2013 and I am still alive. That's all.
Hi, my name is Frank Kearney. I was born April 26, 1938 in Wichita, Kansas. I have 6 brothers and sisters, and my dad died when I was 10. Me and my brother invented Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was established 50 years ago in Wichita, Kansas. My brother and I borrowed $600 from our mother and opened a beer and pizza restaurant to students at the Wichita State University. We used purchased equipment and decided to serve pizza to their customers.
There
We learned how to make pizza 2 weeks before our store opened. The recipe for pizza dough is a handful of this and a handful of that, all mixed together. Our Pizza Hut in Addyville was the first to have delivery. As business improved, we developed our own special recipe. We had over 4,000 stores. We sold Pizza Hut for $300 million and received $32 million. I invested in Papa John's Pizza. My mother promised our father that we would all finish Pizza Hut. We would all finish college So I finally got my degree in 2000. I have a wife named Zinda, and I have 8 kids. We live in California now.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Bickerdike. I was born July 19, 1817 near Mount Vernon, Ohio. I was a Civil War nurse. I helped doctors in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1837. 10 years later, I married Robert Bickerdike. In 1856, Robert and I moved to Galesburg, Illinois. My husband died 2 years later. I continued to work as a nurse to support my 2 young sons. At the outbreak of the American Civil War, residents of Galesburg bought medical supplies. I used the supplies to establish a hospital for the sick and wounded soldiers. I spent the rest of the war traveling with Union armies. I created more than 300 Union hospitals for the sick and wounded soldiers. I gave a lot of speeches across the Union about the hard conditions the soldiers had. I got the nickname Mother Bickerdike for how much I cared for them. I followed the war and moved to Kansas. I secured a $10,000 donation from Jonathan Burke. He was a banker. The donation helped obtain land, tools, and materials. I even got the Burlington, Quincy, and Chicago Railroad to provide free transportation for the veterans hoping to live in Kansas. I moved to California to maybe make a change before my declining health. I then moved back to Kansas and died November 8, 1901.
Was one of the first American aviation pioneer and author. I was one of the first women to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. I was also the first to fly solo across from Hawaii to the U.S. mainland. I was born July 24th, 1897. She disappeared somewhere in the Pacific Ocean in 1937. I was the 16th woman to receive a pilot's license. Amelia didn't board a plane until 1920. Then when a pilot flew her just a couple hundred feet in the air, Amelia knew she wanted to fly. And then on June 1st, 1937, Earhart left Miami for her final flight. I attended schools in St. Paul, Minnesota, Springfield, and Illinois. I think she is very talented and has inspired many people. And this is one of her quotes. And this is Amelia before takeoff and Amelia at the age 10.
Hi, my name is Nancy Landon Cassill. I was born in Topeka, Kansas, July 29, 1932. I am 86 years old. I am the daughter of Theo Cobb and Alfred Landon, who was governor of Kansas from 1933 to 1937. I went to high school in Topeka, Kansas, and graduated in 1950. Then I went to the University of Kansas and graduated in 1954. Then I received a master's degree in diplomatic history from the University of Michigan. This is where I met my first husband, Philip Cassill. We were married in 1956. We settled down in Mays, Kansas, where we raised 4 children. I worked as a vice president of Cassill Communications, a family-owned company that operated several radio stations. Philip and I were separated, and our divorce came final in 1979. I defeated 8 other Republicans in the 1978 primary elections and then defeated the Democratic Congressman Bill Ray in the general elections. After a few years, my maiden name was used less and less as a senator. For the rest of my career, I'm known as Nancy Cassill. I was re-elected to the Senate seat in 1984 and 1990. However, I did not seek re-elections in 1996. In 1996, I married my second husband, former U.S. Senator Howard Baker, Jr. of Tennessee. He then died. In 2014, I was the chair of the Senate Labor Committee from January 3rd, 1995, January 3rd, 1997. In 2015, I reside at a family ranch near Burdick, Kansas. More recently, I have endorsed Laura Kelly, the Democratic candidate who recently victor in the 2018 Kansas governor elections. Have any questions?
Hi, I'm Cassill McCarthy. I was the first Kansas woman elected to Congress. I was born in April 24, 1894. My parents were John and Mary. I died January 16, 1952 in Hayes from cancer. My age was 57. I was married to Daniel McCarthy in 1933. I was born in Hayes, Kansas. I graduated from Hayes High School in 1913 and Ford Hayes Normal School in 1917. I went to law school in Chicago while my father, John Lofley, was serving in the House, in Kansas House, 1921. I was applying as a clerk of House in Cherokee community. I believe in equal rights for women.
I was a Heisman Trophy winner in 1988. I played college football for Oklahoma State University. I was inducted into the College Hall of Fame on August 16, 1988. I had my oldest son, Barry Sanders Jr., with Aletha House. After that, I was drafted by the Detroit Lions in 1989. I led the league in rushing yards for 6 years straight with 15,229. After, I married Lauren Campbell in 2000. We had 3 children, Noah Sanders, Nigel Sanders, and Miguel Sanders. After that, I retired. I was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame in 2000. Any questions?